BagFuel, baby.
All right, yo, BagFuel. Woo, man.
Atlanta edition. Don't forget that.
ATL, we outside, man. You see the ambiance is so, inviting to us right now.
We still got a Southside Jamaica Queens dude up in here.
Oh yeah,
so, it's all right. It's all right right now.
Yeah. We, I'm with the tag team champions right now, so I have
we got to introduce Shaheem Reid. You know what I mean?
Man, you've been working.
Yes. We gotta keep going, man.
And when we say working, like meaningful work too. In this business, you could do a lot of shit. You eating shit, no pun intended, but till you get your stripes. But every time I've seen Shaheem Reid, you're on television, you're with corporations. Everything has been impactful from what I've seen visually. So I know before that it was a real struggle and journey, man. Talk about it.
Nah, first of all, thank both of y'all brothers for having me on. When I get the call from this man right here, I gotta come through, and always good to build with you as well.
Mm-hmm.
I had Esso on my Twitch show.
I remember.
So it's like, damn, we coming a whole 180. Now I'm the one that's getting interviewed. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's time, man. You Revolt television, not YouTube, television, bro.
Yeah, I might be one of the only ones that I could say I didn't work with Hove on the corporate level. When he was starting his Life and Times website, we had a show on there. I had a show on Revolt, and I had a show on MTV. I don't know if anybody else could say that. I didn't dealt with a lot of the great corporations. Bless, and we still going hard. We still working, man. You ain't never gonna see me maybe when I'm like 85 years old or something. I say, okay, I'm good. Nah, I still got that hunger. Like it's ready. This is actually later this year. It'll be like my 25th anniversary in the game, man.
Congratulations.
You gotta have a party or something for that.
Yeah. We gotta do something big.
I mean, because you legendary with this shit. Did you think that you was gonna get this far when you started out with this thing? Because, media and all that, it wasn't sexy back then.
Yeah, well, when I was in college, man, and what's crazy when I think about 25 years, I've actually been doing this like most of my life now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when I look at somebody like LeBron, been in the NBA 20 years, he's been doing that most of his life. So this is not just been a career for me. This has been my life. This has been my male adulthood. In the music game. When I got in, real simple. My motivation for getting in is that I always knew I wanted to get in media ever since I was a little kid. I went to PS 223 in Queens. Right by Baisley Park. Everybody from Southside know what a time it is with Baisley Park. So when I was real little, when I was in elementary school, they took us to junior high school, 202, which I wound up going to that school as well. And when they took us to 202 on a field trip, they had a studio. They had a television studio inside the school, which bugged my mind out. And they had kids that was like a few years older than me. So you figure at this point, I'm like 9, 10 years old. So they had kids that was like 12, 13 years old, not just operating the cameras, but sitting in front of the cameras, So I'm like, damn, that's the first time it ever clicked in my mind. Because, of course, when we kids, we seen, from my time period, I seen like Gary Coleman on TV and, Kim Fields and Facts of Life and stuff like that. But it wasn't really to that moment that it really dawned on me like, damn, I could really do this. Because these kids was, from my neighborhood, but just like a little bit older than me. So that just always stuck with me, man. Like I always was like, when that happened, I was like, I gotta be in. I didn't even know the term media at the time because I was still a little kid. But I was like, I gotta do something with this. And then what was so crazy, not too long after that, or around the same time, I won a contest on the radio. I don't remember if it was 98.7 or WBLS 107.5, but I won a contest on the radio to be an extra in Run DMC's movie Tougher Than Leather. So I'm like a real little kid. My mother she gotta be, if not 9, 8 months pregnant with my brother, stomach sticking out the hair. And I'm a little kid and called up to the radio, and I just had to be like calling number 17 or some random number. I won a contest to be on there, so I'm gassed up. I'm thinking I'm gonna be in the movie with Run DMC, because Crush Groove was all we watched. Crush Groove, Breaking, Beat Street. All those films changed my life and cultivated my mind at a young age too. So I'm thinking like, damn, I'm gonna be in a movie with Run DMC and all of that, because those guys were my idols. Again, guys from Queens at the same time. We would see them every blue moon driving around Hollis.
Benzes with the gold grill.
1,000,000%, and that was important too, because back in those days in the 80s, it wasn't really too many people that was living a legitimate lifestyle that was driving with those type of fancy cars. Young guys, older cats. I definitely seen a few older cats. I had my Uncle Duke, my Uncle Leroy. They always had nice Cadillacs and stuff like that.
Wasn't rocking them Benzes with the gold grills though.
Nah, it was something different. They wasn't running them. They was doing it different. So those were like my idols, man. And make a long story short, I had to go to this club called The World in Manhattan on a school night, 11 o'clock at night, regular club hours. And my mom's, now that I think about it, my mom's is wow, because she took me out there, because my mother never learned how to drive, so we took the subway from Queens to Manhattan just because I begged her, like, Mom, I gotta be in this movie. So we went, and I think she wanted to see it too. She wanted to see what the hell was going on. So we went in there, we walk up to the club, and it was like, damn, it was just like, I couldn't have wrote it, a film writer couldn't wrote it better. As soon as we walk up the block to the club, right in the Benz, it was a silver Benz. It was Run, DMC, Hurricane. And they all in there chilling, right? And I'm like, oh my God, my mother go up to the window, they blazing or whatever. My mother go up to the window, she knock on the window. I know they had to be like, what the hell is this pregnant woman? Because her stomach, she 8 months pregnant, 9 months pregnant, stomach sticking out the hair. What the hell is this woman knocking on our window for? And she was like, yo, I came all the way from Queens, I'm pregnant. My son is your biggest fan. Y'all gotta give him an autograph or something. And they kicked it with me for a few minutes, and DMC, he gave me a picture, one of them black and white.
Yeah, the promo picture.
He signed it, said, be cool, stay in school, DMC. I think I still got this. I still got it somewhere in my mother's house. And, that stuck with me to stay in school, man. Like, a lot of artists don't realize that they really have power over these young kids' mind. You know what I'm saying? Like just to have a kind word to a young kid could go a long way. That should, I carried it with me my whole life.
Wow.
from that point. And I remember looking up on the roof. DMC was on the roof. Jam Master Jay was on the roof of the club, because it was like 5,000 people outside. And it was, he was just standing out there. I never forget. I still got the memory of Jam Master Jay ingrained in my brain, standing on the roof of the club, and he had his hands on his hip. Like, yeah, he looked like Black Superman though, bro. He looked like Black Superman. He was up there, beard trimmed up, and he was just so proud. He had a smile on his face, like so proud, like, God damn, look what we doing. Because it was way more people outside than it was
inside.
So me, I'm still naive. I'm thinking I'm gonna be in the movie. I think I'm gonna get a scene or say some lines or something like that. It's like, no, I'm an extra. But they took us. They told them that we won the contest to be in there. And they treated us great. They took us in the club. We went to the green room, away from all of the people. And then when we go in the green room, man, this shit was just so crazy. I don't mean to curse. I don't know if I curse on it. I know, but man, it was incredible. Like me and my mother just sitting in the green room off to the side. And when I tell you everybody in hip hop around that time started coming in, this is like 88. No, this is like, this ain't 88. This is like 86. This is like 86, 87, because this is after
Crush Groove?
Yeah, this is after Crush Groove, and this is after the Raising Hell album. You know what I'm saying? This is and I'm gonna tell you what song that they played for the first time that night. So when I tell you we sitting in the green room chilling, Beastie Boys come in, Slick Rick, Dougie Fresh, Fat Boys, LL, Salt and Pepper, and I'm watching this as a kid, I'm mesmerized, like, yo, this is crazy. So we finally get called to do our scene. Of course, I'm an extra, so it's however many people in the club, 1,000 people in the club, but they're doing a concert scene. So I'm like, yo, this is great. I'm gonna see them perform too. This is crazy. So they come down, and for the first time ever, they perform Mary Mary, Why You Bugging?
Mary, man.
Man, it was my first time hearing it. It sounded at the time the greatest hip hop song, greatest song period I ever heard. And they did it about like 20 times, and then my mother was like, all right, we out. We gotta go. But it was just an incredible experience. And then, years later, actually working at MTV and my other journalism places, interviewing Run DMC, and getting a chance to kick it. I don't think I ever I had a chance to interview Jam Master Jay, but I definitely kicked it with him on a couple of occasions. Obviously before the tragic demise. Yeah, but he was so cool.
Did you remind him of that moment, or you just was like?
I never reminded Jay, but I always remind Run.
Do they remember your mom's working?
Nah.
They don't remember a pregnant lady from Queens.
You know how many pregnant ladies they had coming up to them, bro? Stop. I think that all gave us a charge, because I was a kid and I worked across the street from Full Force and fucking Lisa, where they used to rehearse in fucking what's that shit called, Hell's Kitchen. And I know Paul and I know Bow-Legged Lou now. Bro. So they used to come across to the hardware store, and at 6 years old, I was running the cash register and shit, because my godmother Panamanian.
Yeah.
So we did. So when I finally made it in the game, and I saw them, and we at the BMI Awards, and I took a big picture with them, and I was like, yo, remember that kid? They used to stand on top of the crate and run the cash register. They was like, yeah, West Side. I was like, that was me.
Wow.
And niggas was like, they couldn't believe.
Incredible.
I was the same dude that did that. Even Puffy, when I first met Puffy, I was a 16-year-old kid in Cancun on top of the speaker. So when I first was dealing with Puffy, I said, yo, remember the kid that was on top of the speaker in Cancun? Blah, blah, blah. Y'all was like, why the fuck is this nigga up here? He was like, yeah. I was like, that was me.
Everywhere, man.
And they can't believe it. It's like somewhere, some shape, form, or fashion, you was involved in hip-hop. And you didn't even know. I didn't even know the effect it was going to have on me. But when you think about the times and you go back to it, it was fully ingrained. Like when you mentioned Crush Groove coming from Queens was everything.
It still give me chills.
Give me chills. See LL come box and all that. Like, yo, we coming from Queens, it was like, yo, we can do this. We can make it in this business, because the dudes that are in the same land drinking the same water is doing this shit.
Word. And just to build off your Full Force Lisa. First of all, I liked girls and women at a very, very young age.
And Lisa was one of them things.
Lisa, I had the biggest crush on her. Jesus Christ.
Her and Pebbles and fucking Lisa was my two.
Pebbles was amazing. Lisa to me, she was it. And
the first J-Lo.
And she's still so beautiful, man. I was at a Snoop Dogg concert at not Irving Plaza. It was in Manhattan.
Hammerstein?
Not Hammerstein. The one over on 20-something Street. I can't remember the name. Gramercy. Please forgive. My cousin Tommy was working at Gramercy for a long time. Please forgive me, Tommy. Gramercy, Snoop had a concert there, and for some reason, my aunt is 86 years old, and this was only a couple of years ago. This is right before the pandemic. She's such a big fan of Snoop. We had to take her downstairs to get the autograph from Snoop. Snoop is my man. He always cool. But while we was waiting for Snoop, I wound up in the dressing room. It was me, my aunt, Lisa and her people, and Peter Guns. It was just like a real random thing. And, you know, I told her, I was like, I've been a fan of yours since I was little. My first concert that I ever really remember going to was Lisa and Colt Jam, Full Force, Rapping Duke. Remember Rapping Duke, the I know y'all remember. I'm saying the people that's watching this, Rapping Duke, the high. You know, and I don't think a lot of the younger cats caught the line with know what Biggie was saying when he said it.
Rapping Duke, the high. You never thought that hip hop would make it this far.
And the headliners was New Edition. And they had just kicked Bobby Brown out the group. Because that was the whole big thing. Like, my mother told me that Bobby Brown was out the group. She's like, you know the guy's out the group.
You didn't believe it?
Well, I mean, you know, I believed it, but she was just telling me all type of stuff. She was like, I heard he was on drugs. I heard he was doing this. Because, you know, it was rumors back then.
We didn't have social media.
We didn't have no social media.
You had magazine rumors, what you heard on the radio. You had Wendy Williams exposing.
All of that.
You didn't have a lot of, you didn't know nothing. Like, it was a secret society.
Yeah.
So, did you think that you was going to make money off of this shit? Where did the money come from? When did that start to occur?
Nah, I knew it. I went to shout out to all of the HBCUs, all of the historically black colleges. I went to Norfolk State.
I went to Morgan State.
Oh, there we go.
I did some dirt in Norfolk State. Yo.
Oh yeah, Norfolk State was wild.
I did the green end.
Yes.
Yeah, I did some dirt. VSU. I did dirt out there. I did that whole college scene.
Yeah, VA was wild, man. VA is always a beautiful place. I still got family down there. I still go down there. I love it. But it's funny because we moved from Queens to Virginia in the early 90s.
What was that about? I know you're gonna tell you a story because my parents did the same thing. They moved from Queens and they moved to Chesapeake, Virginia.
Okay.
But I didn't go. They let me stay home for my last year and a half. But everybody from Queens was moving out to VA. I think VA was the first Miami to me.
It's a property because at that time people were like, "Yo, you can get a lot for a little."
Yeah,
bit.
it was the rent was lower, the mortgage was, everything was lower. All the prices with everything was lower. Even just going to McDonald's, you know, you might get a quarter pounder with cheese for $1.50 here. You get it for $1 down there. You know, like the cost of living was just less expensive. And my mother, she was under the delusion that Virginia was gonna be
nicer. The hood wasn't there.
It wasn't.
And then she didn't know Newport News was right around the corner.
And we moved in Newport News, so we was right there. But we was in Denby. We wasn't downtown Bad News. Okay. But it was crazy because when we moved to Virginia. And, you know, my mother, she did an excellent job of raising me and my brother Ari. You know, she's a fantastic parent, but she just was naive to what was going on in the street. You know, it was, because when I moved down there, that was the height of crack. And it was,
was living out there.
It was the height of drugs for guns.
Teddy Riley was out there.
So VA had the guns. Mm-hmm. New York had the coke. And it was a lot of exchanging.
Bartering.
Yeah, it was a lot of bartering.
New York and VA was close. It was a lot of New York dudes.
A lot of New York.
Teddy Riley relocated to VA and had all of New York out there.
was living out there for a while.
Yeah?
Yeah.
VA was the first Miami. I'm telling you, that was the first beach. Everybody was down there for the 4th of July. Everybody was out there for Labor Day. Mm-hmm. That's where all the colleges went. We all went to fucking Virginia
Black College
Beach.
Wigan,
You
all
went
of
to
that.
King's Dominion.
That was it.
Yeah, that's where all the black
wild.
colleges meet. You met girls because Morgan State was down there with VSU, with Norfolk State. Everybody, we was all flooded down.
It was amazing.
Black College weekend, bro.
It was amazing, man.
It was amazing. It was like nothing you've ever seen.
But what's so crazy is that I came into contact with more guns, cocaine. I mean, I was never doing it. I ain't gonna get on here in front like I was dealing drugs and none of that. I wasn't into none of that. But a lot of my friends was. You know what I'm saying? I even have family members that was
getting into it.
They was getting into it, and you know, it was crazy because you know it would be one day I have a friend over the house, we just chilling, watching TV, playing Sega Genesis. Next day, my mother's like, "Oh my God, he's on the news. He murdered the pizza man." You know, and there's people I went to high school with. Because I went to high school before I went to college down there. So
okay, so you had a year down there?
I had 2 years of high school. She moved me down junior. I went to August Martin. Shout out to August Martin in Queens.
That's a
They wild. You know, they wild. And then I went to Denby High School for my last 2 years, and then I went to Norfolk State. But it was crazy. There's a few cats out that I went to high school with, been in jail for murder and all type of stuff. Like my whole career, like they ain't been outside my whole career. Like I'm 25 in.
I mean, they catch bodies out there. Like,
yeah,
and it's a Commonwealth state.
But
the music scene, was the music scene prevalent out there at that time, like in New York though?
Well, nah, it wasn't prevalent like that, but it was. When I moved down there, that was like the incubation period for like all of them was coming up at the time. I didn't know them, but Timbaland, Missy, Pharrell, Jodeci was still hot, but it would be like a couple of years later that Devontae would move down the VA and grab up Genuine and Missy and Timbaland and have all of them.
That's small.
You know what I'm saying?
Producing.
Yeah,
that's how it usually happens.
Yeah.
Though. Like when
Teddy Riley was on fire though, because when I moved to VA, I think it was '92. Rump Shaker just came out.
Oh Lord.
And Teddy, I remember it was a little bit of controversy. I ain't care because the video was crazy, but I remember on the radio they was mad at Teddy Riley because they said that the women in Rump Shaker was flown in from Cali.
Oh.
But I didn't care. I was recording that video and watching it over and over. And the woman was amazing.
Cali. What the fuck does that mean? Who cares? Oh, they wanted him to be from VA.
They wanted VA women. But you know, ain't nobody really thinking about that. But the song was amazing. That whole period, '92. Mary J just came out. I remember we driving around the Mary J. We driving around the Redman. What the album. And again, hip hop kind of like calmed my nerves, man, because I was just so anti moving down to Virginia. Like I was like, yo, I do not want to move to Virginia. Like we was, you know, I was like, that's the country. I was under the because I would go down to VA or whatever and have a good time with my cousins and stuff during the summer, but. You know, I'm in New York. I didn't want to live there, but you know, when I got down there and I just saw the freedom that the kids was having, man. Like, is the kids back then? You know, you talk about 6 years old on a cash register. I can't even imagine a 6-year-old kid on a cash register now. So we grew up a lot faster back in the days, but we just had a lot of freedom. You know, that was like. We was going to the parties, and you know, like I said, a lot of kids was getting money, driving around in Benzes and stuff like that.
But how did you transition that shit into the game? Did it come from college? Did you start?
Yeah.
Did you take over college radio, or what was the process of getting you from Virginia into the game now?
Especially there's no YouTube. It's a secret society.
It is.
You either gotta write a resume or send something in and hope and pray.
That's what I did. I hit the lotto ticket. I hit the lotto ticket. Well, for one, okay, so I told you about the story of that when I was a little kid, I saw a TV station, and I eventually went to that junior high school, got a chance to work at that TV station, just playing around. When I went to high school in Virginia, they actually had a functioning television station, because the one in school, they just play stuff in school. Like how you see the Spider-Man movie, how they was just playing stuff just for the school. That's how it was. But when I went to high school in Denby in Newport News, Virginia, Channel 6, big up to Mr. Price, they had a fully functioning TV station that you could turn your cable on, and you could see the student-run TV station. So when I did that, I was so open, man. We was making all type of music videos where I'm lip syncing Brand Nubians, Love Me or Leave Me Alone, and we doing PSAs and all type of stuff. That just really got me open to production. Then when I went to Norfolk State, I carried it over. But see, with Norfolk State, how they I don't know if they still have the policy, but when I went there, they was like, you could take production classes, but they wanted you to learn your craft and learn the ins and outs of it, the written stuff and all of that. So you couldn't touch the equipment until a year or two in. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, damn, I got all this experience coming from this TV station, and they saying, oh, you can't make no videos and nothing.
You felt like you was going backwards?
Yeah, it felt like I was going backwards. So what I did in the meantime, just to keep me occupied, I started working at the school newspaper, because I was always really good with writing. I always, language arts and all of that, I was always getting A's in that. So always writing poems for church and all of that, saying speeches at school. So I started writing for the school newspaper, and then they put me on the game. They like, yo, you send a letter. We had to send letters. Send a letter to the record label, and they'll send you free albums and all of that. So I was doing that. They put me on the mailing list. Arista Records, Def Jam. They put me on the mailing list. I'm getting all these free
vinyls.
No, CDs. It was CDs at the time. It was CDs at the time. I was getting all the CDs first, because
felt like you was in the game now.
Felt like I was in the game. Then what really turned it up, we in a college town, a black college town. All of the artists are coming down to get interviewed. So I interviewed Snoop right after Biggie got killed, man. Snoop came to my school to perform. And I might have been the only one in the country, besides maybe MTV, which ironically I worked for them years later, to actually interview Snoop at that time. Redman, Keith Murray, Fugees, The Lox, everybody that was coming to the school. By this time, I was running the school. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had the media pass. They knew me. I was the editor, the entertainment editor of the school newspaper. So I was running it. I was so dope and so efficient with mine. I was going to other schools. I was going to Old Dominion with my press pass. I was going to Hampton University. It's a funny story. We at Hampton University for this concert. It's Mona Lisa, Jay-Z, and the headline is Foxy Brown. So I'm backstage chilling. Jay-Z trying to come in, the security not letting him in, and I'm like, yo, this is Jay-Z. Y'all gotta let Jay-Z in. They didn't know who Jay-Z was. That might be the one and only time nobody knew who Jay-Z.
So they knew Foxy, but they didn't know Jay-Z.
Yeah, Jay.
That's deep.
Jay had just came out with Ain't No Nigga, but Foxy was still bubbling, because Foxy had the I Shot Ya. She was bubbling, and she was the headliner. She was bringing Jay-Z out.
You told me.
That's what I'm crazy.
That they knew Foxy at that time, but didn't know Hov.
That sounds almost like the same timeline when you did his concert in Maryland.
Yeah, I did Jay-Z and Foxy's first show in Baltimore ever.
Wow.
And he spoke about it in a magazine and said it was his worst show ever. It was hot in there, the sound went out, all types of shit.
It was a hole in the wall spot. Was it a hole in the wall spot?
It's called the Gallery 21 East.
Yes.
And he spoke about it.
I remember that. He told us, I don't remember the whole ins and outs of the story.
It was me.
I remember Queens nigga.
Yeah. It was my party.
Then y'all had to, did y'all pay him on like
I paid him.
It was like a dirt road or something he had to travel on?
No. He came. Him and Pooh was on the road with them. Pooh, they came and met me at the college campus.
Okay.
To get the back end of the money. And I was like, how y'all gonna come get the back end of the money? How am I gonna know that y'all gonna show up? You know what I'm saying? And they was like, we showed up and you sent a Western Union. And we're here. You know what I'm saying? That's how we had to do it. Western Union back in the days.
Yeah.
And trust that they show up. That's what we did.
Man,
and I took them
That's
there.
rugged.
As SNS DJ, they brought the whole clan down. Clue, me and Clue knew each other. Clue's girlfriend was my girlfriend's roommate. So Clue came down. I knew Gavin from playing ball. I knew Foxy because I knew Gavin from playing ball. I knew Anton because I was a ball player. You know what I'm saying? So I knew a whole bunch of them. And I was 19 years old. And I was using my loan money and my weed money. And I was throwing parties, and Clue had dropped the mixtape where Ain't No Nigga was popping.
Yeah.
It was a good time at the college, so I said, I'm gonna bring them down. You know how much I paid? I paid $1,500 for Foxy and $3,000 for Hov.
Did you make your money back?
No. I lost my money not because of Hov and them, because it was competition. We had Buster down there, so I had to let people come in that would normally pay. The sound went out. You know, we was younger at that time, so they wasn't giving us the bar back then. We didn't know about the bar. I wasn't old enough to get the bar. You know what I'm saying? So I was working off the door. I lost money, but what did occur was my long-lasting relationship with Clue.
Yeah.
Clue came to me and said, your girlfriend and my girlfriend's roommates, I should be doing your parties, and we're both from Queens, and I knew you were ready, and I agreed with him. And I lost other relationships behind it, but you can see me and Clue's relationship has lasted 20-something years. Dame came to me and was like, yo, you put this show together, although the show wasn't a good show. Dame was impressed that a young 19-year-old paid everybody. Yeah. That was his big deal. Like, you actually paid everybody. Everybody got paid, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I paid them,
which is real tough when you take a loss.
Yeah,
usually they don't be money left over.
I never believed in that. Like, if I'm gonna take a gamble with something, I'm doing it. I'm not gonna take a gamble and get money back and say I'm not gonna pay Shy.
No, what I'm saying, usually when you take the loss, it don't be enough to pay everyone. You get what I'm saying?
No, that's how I took the losses, because I paid everybody. I had the money.
You're lucky.
Come back.
That's called breaking even.
No, that's not. That's not breaking even. Breaking even is if I put $1,000 out and I make $1,000 back.
What I'm saying is, I've done events.
Yeah.
It's such a bad event. There wasn't money to pay everybody.
That means that y'all started out with no money. I started out with enough money to pay.
That's why I say you broke even.
You lost money. What are you talking about?
So for
break even.
But this is important though, because it's a lot of young promoters that's watching this. You're saying, because I see what you're saying. When promoters, right, they want to do a show, and they might have the money to get the venue. They might have the money to give the artist the first in, and then they're expecting the money that night that they make that night to pay the rest of the artists. But you're saying you already had all of the funds, the whole budget for whatever.
I'm not doing it if I don't have the budget.
Right. Listen. But a lot of people don't do that.
So now, when you took that L, how quickly did you do your next party?
It was a while.
What's the time frame?
It was a while, bro. Like it took probably when I got my next loan money, like 3 or 4 months, and I was doing a party once a month.
Nigga, that's breaking even, bro.
That is not, bro.
If you take an L,
please don't keep saying that, because what you're saying is totally wrong.
Listen, if when you take an L like that and you could come back,
that is not breaking even.
Listen, if you could take an L like that and you can do a party again, that's what breaking even is.
That is not breaking even.
If you take an L, if I hear a nigga saying he take an L, I'm like, that don't make no sense. How you taking these?
Bro, breaking even.
How many L's you took before you started?
Let's be clear.
How many L's you took?
Let's be clear, because people are watching this shit. You put out $4,500, you make $4,500 back. You don't make no money. That's breaking even. What you put out is what you got back. If I put out $4,000 and I lose $3,000 of it, I'm down $1,200. I did not break even. I lost That's just what it is. You lost
Because sometimes when you do these shows, you gotta dip back into the stash to finish paying.
To sometimes finish paying. That's how you know you lost money, because that means you have the money. That's what we all do. The party's $10,000. I have to pay $5,000 up front. I have my other $5,000, right? What they call dirty nigga behavior is I don't have the other $5,000 and I'm banking on that.
No, it's not hoping and praying.
Okay, you're hoping and praying. You're hoping and praying and you're banking on that. That's not good business. You can't gauge loss in there because you're only putting up $5,000 and then you're hoping you're making money. You have to have the money set aside and know what your budget is. You put it out to your budget and then you make your money back.
The way you're describing it, it don't really go like that.
You know what my man told me a long time ago? Again, down in Virginia, big up to DJ Low and Big B, the Buddha Brothers, man.
No, the Buddha Brothers, yeah.
They showed me a lot of love when they didn't have to, because the Buddha Brothers for Virginia is the equivalent to what Flex is in New York. You know what I'm saying? The equivalent to what Greg Street is to Atlanta and some of these other southern markets, man. The Buddha Brothers is running, and they always showed me love. And I remember I did my best friend and my sister Tracy. We did a show. We didn't even have artists. We just had people. We did a show. We was doing a showcase, and we lost some mad money because they had once in a lifetime they had a snowstorm. You know, they don't have snowstorms in Virginia. It just so happened that the night that we doing our show, they had a snowstorm. We like, what the hell is going on? Yeah.
No, the snowstorm comes out of nowhere. Go ahead.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere. But what Big B told me, he was like, because we was telling them we was doing the showcase, and they came and they showed love. But he was like, man, when you do a show, this is what it's the equivalent of. It's the equivalent of you taking all your money, you putting it into a big ball, and you throwing it in the corner, and just know it might not come back. It might not come back. Yeah. So, but it was just, and I know we're going to move on to the next one, but that was just the 90s for colleges was such an amazing time. Because, man, I saw shows. I remember the night that O.J. Simpson went on the run. The show was, and I don't know what happened. It might have been the promoter too. The show was supposed to be Goody Mob, Outkast, and I forget who else it was. And wound up being Smith & Wesson, Black Moon, and Wu-Tang Clan. I never saw that before. Like, they switched the entire roster of the show up the day up. Like, you pay a ticket to go see a particular show. Like, we paid the ticket. Advertised for weeks. It's Outkast, Goody Mob. And I'm cool because I like those groups, so I paid the money.
But you in the South, so.
But then when they switched it to Wu-Tang and all of them, I'm like, I kind of like this show even crazier because this is home turf. This is this is it. And this is Black Moon when they had all them remixes. I Got You Open remix and Killing Every Nigga in Sight and Wu-Tang was fresh. So just that whole time being in college, man. So many people that we seen that era coming down and those homecomings. They used to be so special, man. I don't know if the homecomings now are as big as what they was 25 years ago or whatever, but they used to be so special where you would be seeing the next superstar emerge, or even the people that was on, they would show love and cut a deal to the student body government, get them a nice deal and come through.
I think, in New York, we have so much going on. We don't think anything else is really relevant to us outside of New York. And when you go down south and you see that marching band for the first time practicing in the cut, and you see them girls with their outfit, or when you go to a party down south and you see the fraternities and the sororities doing their dance. I remember one of them niggas had pushed all of us, and they're like, nah, bro. This ain't New York. They're gonna wash us. You gotta let it rock. And being from Brooklyn, you don't stop the party to let a bunch of dudes stomp around with the cane. But as you absorb that, you like, this world different outside them 5 boroughs.
It's different. And you know, man, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Going to a black college, that's a different world. You know, to me, like getting a chance to watch the TV show A Different World and, you know, seeing what they was doing. And now, of course, no school was like Hillman. Like, it definitely wasn't like Hillman. No. But I was like,
there was nowhere close for y'all experience like that?
Hillman was a fantasy world. I mean, you had your thing like
the pit. The pit was like that was real life. Like that was real.
That
life.
was the McKeldin Center for me in Morgan State. That was the pit. Yeah, but how the dorms looked, how people freely came in and out the dorms, and how everybody was like together. No, it was mad beef on the college campus, especially in Norfolk. It was street niggas there. Niggas was selling drugs on Norfolk. Niggas selling drugs at fucking Morgan State. Niggas selling drugs on every black college campus.
Well, Norfolk was right in the heart of the hood. You know Brambleton, what Pusha T talk about is
Norfolk
right
State
there.
was right there.
The projects is right there.
But did they ever I feel like that they respected the college, the niggas as the street niggas.
It was love. It was definitely love. Me personally, I never had no run-ins. Like my whole time in Norfolk. What I learned is that if you was just doing your thing, you know, staying humble, you know, not trying to be on this rah-rah, you was good. You know what I'm saying? You was good. It wasn't crazy like that, although we was right in it, and, you know, it would be shit we see on the news where the projects is heating up because we was right by the projects and all of this. It was a wild area. What up to my brother Al Branch? I see. It was a wild time, but it was still a lot of fun, man. And it was still just an element of growth and nourishing, and, you know, learning how to budget. You know, it might be some weeks you might only have $50 for the week or something like that.
College definitely taught you how to live life for real and really budget your money. I credit college of having me come into this game mature about money. I might not have had my frontal lobe developed about emotional things that was gonna come from the business, because there was a lot of things that back then I reacted poorly to because I didn't understand the full gamut of business and where it carried and where it went to.
Yeah.
I took everything personal, and business really isn't personal, right? But during that hip-hop wave, everything was personal to me. But in that hip-hop wave of how we learned, what's the difference now with how the people is learning about the game now than when we did back then?
I mean, you know, I think everybody is going to agree that technology is so prevalent now, man. It's like, you know, we really had to learn hands-on with everything. We was like really in the soot. And not to say that some of these people that's coming up is not really into it, but, you know, technology, to me, it changed the game for every single thing. It changed the game. There's different ways you could do business. Like, you know, you was talking about Western Union. Now you want somebody, you sell them, or you send a wire transfer, Southern Cash App.
You got a record that you can keep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, so
you can find niggas faster. The fucking cell phone, everybody had the Zap phone back then.
You know what's crazy? I remember when I would talk with Smack and Beasley, and it's so crazy in the hood how many dudes don't have a bank account. And that's like the easiest thing to get. And I would see Smack barking like, why don't you got a bank account? Because
maybe they don't have a residence. You gotta have a residence to have a bank account.
Bro, it's not.
Some niggas use their jail ID for
so
shit.
Many dudes can get out of jail and get a car. So many street dudes can
get shit. But it don't
shit.
be in their name.
They can get a bank account.
It's generational too, though. You know what I'm saying? You gotta think like. For me, when I was young, my mother took me to the bank. She's like, I'm going to set up your bank account and do all of this when I was a kid.
I was like 15, 16. That's when I got my joints.
Yeah. I mean, I had a bank account when I was young. When I was young.
When did you get yours?
When I got to college.
But that's still young
true.
too.
Because the way your parents are and how
My
responsible
parents
you are.
didn't know about music. They were they were working class people. Like, you didn't need to have a bank account if you were just going to get a job. You do that when it's time for you.
Because they had the check cashing places. I remember, like even with my mother, she messed with the check cashing place for a long time.
Everybody, they take their regular check.
Yo, my pops was like, yo, this is how you go.
I know niggas that couldn't put their money in the bank account because they had child support problems, so they had to go to check cashing. There was a lot of
they was yanking them back then.
There'd be a lot of reasons why people don't have bank accounts. It's not just as simple, and people be ashamed to say, I don't have a permanent residence. I don't want to put a shelter address on my bank account. Like I'm gonna work my way around it. You know what I'm saying? Like it should be embarrassing to people.
But we gotta at the same time, it definitely can be embarrassing to somebody. But you know, some of the strongest people are the people who actually swallowed their pride and got a little bit of help. You know, like sometimes we as a people, we just gotta give each other just a little bit of a nudge. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of help. You know what I'm saying? Like, SO, he saw that I'm doing my show on Twitch. He came on. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing that he down here in Atlanta. I get the call. We gonna come, but this is how like other groups of people do. You know what I'm saying? Like they help each other. Like it's just a phone call. Like, yo, let's just do this. Like, you know, helping kids get jobs. You know, like my daughter need a job. Call up your friend. Like, I know you at this company. Like, we as black people, we have to do that more. Like, that's one of the things that's lagging, and it's a generational thing. It's a generational handicap. A lot of stuff that we doing, but you know, brothers such as me and yourselves, we're some of the people that's trying to break those cycles. Sure. You know, trying to break those chains. But it's something just as simple as getting a bank account. And some banks, even today, still they'll give you hassle about trying to get a bank account. You know, like even if you got a job and a residence, they will give you some hassle sometimes. But we need more black bankers, and I think it's dope. My brother Ari, he's a black banker. You know, he's definitely helped some people out. You know because I have friends. I'm gonna be honest with you. I have friends that I talked to him and he didn't have a bank account. Same thing, and I'm like, yo, call my brother, hook it up. You know what I'm saying? And if they would have been just over prideful and too ashamed to say, yo, Shaheem, I ain't got no bank account, they might not have none. And at the end of the day, it's not about what you don't have. It's about how you gonna get what you need, how you gonna get what you want. Okay, you don't have it. Okay, there's nothing we could do. You know, we can't go to the past. You don't have it. But how can you get it? What's the plan to get it? You know what I'm saying?
What was your plan to get into this media game? Because we've been talking.
We've been talking. Yeah. Getting back to that story.
Because the way y'all came in the game, I didn't come in like that. I came in a space where I could manipulate the internet.
Yeah.
But I didn't know like how to get into the game. How you got in is how I wanted to get in.
Listen, I'm gonna tell for all of the young cats that's watching it.
Yeah.
I did my thing kind of backwards. You know what I'm saying? I was kind of backwards because I was in college, but it wasn't until like my last year. I'm just so caught up in college, and when I was in college, I had a job. I was working part-time. I'm caught up in living in the moment. It wasn't until my senior year that I started thinking like, okay, I'm about to graduate. What the hell are you going to do? You know what you want to do, but how are you going to get it? What we were just saying. You know what you want, but how are you going to get it? So I started applying for internships. You know, I didn't even start applying for jobs. I was applying for internships as a senior, which you're not supposed to do. You're supposed to get these internships early, like sophomore, freshman, sophomore year. This is when you're supposed to have it. So by the time you graduate,
you can get a job.
Yeah, you go to an employer and be like, look, I've had all these internships. Or if you're lucky enough or blessed enough that you'll have an internship at the same company all your years in college,
and flow right into it.
I did my joint ass backwards, y'all. I didn't get my first internship until when I was about to graduate, and I was a big Vibe magazine was starting to pop. I was a big fan of Vibe. I sent them a letter. I think they had like in the magazine they had an ad for summer internships. Kenya Bird, I love you to death. She was working at the magazine at the time, and I sent my letter in, and this was the start of my senior year, like in September, and literally didn't hear nothing back to them until March. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, damn. I'm thinking I'm just gonna graduate and just go to because I'm like I'm gonna definitely go back to New York and figure it out. I was applying to like So Def. I don't even think Jermaine know this, and Jermaine is my man. So like I was actually thinking back then like, okay, So Def is popping. Maybe I'll get a job at a record label because I always love music. So I was just trying to figure it out. Vibe called me back. We had an interview. She was like, you're applying for an internship, but you about to graduate. We don't even do that. But we had such a great rapport on the phone, and she actually turned out to be a great friend of mine when I worked at Vibe. She gave me the internship at Vibe. And when I was at Vibe, we had such an amazing roster of people. Like, it might be one of the greatest rosters of all time because, first of all, Danielle Smith, she was the editor-in-chief. Danielle is a fantastic journalist, legend in the game. Her husband is Elliot Wilson. Yeah. But, Danielle, you can never introduce Danielle as Elliot's wife. Danielle.
No, she was already established.
Super boss. Super bossed up. And she's going on.
People didn't even, it's like they found out later that they were together.
Yeah, that was ill because Elliot used to write for the magazine too. Yeah. And when they finally, I went to their wedding actually. Yeah. When they finally got together, it was dope, but it was a surprise to everybody. But true love. Hey.
There you go.
But we had Danielle Smith. She was the editor-in-chief. She's going on to write books and edit other magazines and done amazing things. Incredible. Documentaries, everything. She's incredible. Speaking of documentaries, the music editor was Sasha Jenkins. Sasha Jenkins is one of the main guys at Mass Appeal, and he's directed all of the documentaries for Mass Appeal. He's directed the Rick James joint, the Wu-Tang of Mike's and Men. He's heavily involved with everything Mass Appeal do, like all of those great documentaries. Sasha was dope back then. We had Minya O, who turned out to be Miss Info. Yeah. She gave me like simple advice when I first started, but it was like some of the biggest advice of my career. She was like, "Your intern, and even though you the low," this is not verbatim, but this is breaking it down what she said. She was like, "Your intern, you're the low man of the totem pole." Because back then, as an intern, I was getting people coffee. I was going to the cleaners and picking up their clothes, all type of shit that I don't even think you could get away with now sending interns to do. But Miss Info told me, she was like, look, don't look at it. I was making photocopies. We had a photocopy machine. She was like, don't look at it as you being the low man on the totem pole and you doing the grunt work. You're an intern. You got to make yourself as indispensable as possible so you will stick out and people will want to work with you and give you a job later on. And that's what I did. My internship. And I think I had like maybe the last paid internship. I don't know if they pay interns, but
I was paying you as an intern.
I was making like,
you really did everything.
Because you was on Quincy Jones. We just watched
the documentary.
Documentary on Quincy.
I was making like $20 an hour back then.
As an intern.
It was amazing. It was amazing. Like, and my intern hours was, 10 o'clock in the morning and we off at 6. But what I would do, because magazines is a whole different beast. Unfortunately, they don't really have a lot of hip hop and black culture magazines now, but hip hop magazines especially. But it's a lot of work that's put into those magazines, a lot of hours. Like we would be there for hours. Like interns, you get off at 6, but the people that work midnight, 1 o'clock, all night long.
And you was in the trenches.
I was in the trenches. I would stay. So we had Sasha, we had Menya, we had Kenya Bird, who went on to be a great writer. Emil Wilbekin, who was he's a big guy in the fashion world now. He's he's the fashion godfather. Emil, the late great George Pitts was the photo editor who's done amazing things. Everybody on the staff went on to be legends.
You were surrounded by legends.
I was surrounded by legends. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Mimi Valdez, who's Pharrell's right hand, that's doing. She was there. Katina Lee, Shawnee Saxton. Everybody went on. Janine Amber, who gave me a lot of great writing gigs. The late great Dave Bree. So many people. Rob Kenner, who just wrote the book for Nipsey Hussle. And he's a great journalist. Like, so many great journalists. It's crazy. Like, if we actually did Who Was That Vibe, and then right before I came, Daytwan Thomas, he was there. Jermaine Hall, who has his own Level magazine. Like, and then we had all the writers. Bobito was writing a column for us. I used to edit it. Elliot Wilson, Chairman Mao, all these greats, man. All of these greats. Carter Harris, who went on to be a television writer.
Did you know that there was greats while it was happening, or did it occur while you was there? Did you realize it once you got there and saw them, or did you realize it even later? Did it have to be?
Nah, I knew everybody was special, bro. Like, I knew everybody because I was a fan of all these people. Cheo, who was the showrunner.
Poker.
Cheo, he was a writer. Dream Hampton. Karen Good, I was a super Dream Hampton fan. You know, I used to read her. I used to read her stuff, just mesmerizing. You know, I just took a little bit from everybody's. For me being a writer, I took a little bit from here, a little bit from there, a little bit from there. I had great teachers. I was really fortunate to come into the magazine at that time, man. And that's I came into the magazine when Quincy still had ownership. He came to the building. We sat down. I remember sitting down with Quincy Jones, bro. Sitting down with Quincy, and he just the chillest dude. Sitting back, he just talking about the magazine. Vibe had the TV show with Sinbad. He was talking about that show, and it was ill. I was writing a column in Vibe one time, and almost got fired because Bev Smith, she was on the sales team. Bevy, who's doing, she's a super media person. It's too many names. Whoever, if I forget, Bones Malone, she started on the sales team.
Wow.
She was getting a lot of bread on the sales team, and she switched her whole stuff up to become a media personality. So nothing but love and respect for Bev. There's so many other greats that worked that Vibe. Our roster was crazy. But I almost got fired. Yeah. This is one of them sidebar stories. I'm writing a column in Vibe where I have Raekwon and Snoop coming in to sit down and just talk about music. We just talking about the songs that was hot. What was the song? Highway, Byway. That song was hot then. We were just talking about music. And we in the conference room upstairs because editorial was on the fifth floor and all the sales department was on the 6th floor. So we on the 6th floor, we talking, and of course, it's Snoop Dogg and it's Ray the Chef. They both want to blaze. Snoop bring out the biggest bag of weed that you ever see. And you know what I'm going to tell them? I'm going to say, y'all can't blaze in here. You know what I'm saying? Man, the brothers started smoking. And we're on the 6th floor. Like, if we would have did it on the 5th floor, we might have could have got away. But we on the 6th floor with all of the corporate. And just so happened that the day that they're there, we have people from the, you know, because Vibe is a
corporate office.
Corporate office is in there. And they knocking on the door, yo, whatever y'all doing, put it out. We smell it all through here. What's going on? So it was like,
what was Snoop's reaction as they saying that? Did he care, or
nah?
he was like, I'm gonna keep it going?
I mean, they was pulling me to the sidebar, and you know, I'm trying to be polite. I'm telling them like, you know, they saying that y'all, you know,
y'all can't smoke.
But you know, I'm trying to get the story. I'm trying to be polite to the guys because I didn't know them at that time. You know, like this is my first time really coming into contact with Chef and contact with Snoop. Yeah. Now those guys have. those are my guys. You know what I'm saying? We was just with Ray the other night at Busted Dinner. So those are my guys. Now it's easy. But back then, I'm a kid. They younger, more rebellious. They blazing. So I didn't get fired. It was close though. I was the talk of the office. I was the talk of the. But nobody else could really pull that shit off. I'm getting Snoop and getting Raekwon. You know, still it wasn't Cuban Link time, but he was still hot. Snoop was still hot. So it was like, damn, you bringing both of those together for an article in the magazine, which is damn near impossible, and you bringing them to the actual office. So,
value.
You know, it was value. You gotta let them smoke, man. And then the shout out. Our office was so crazy because the Vibe office. It was 215 Lexington. So you walk into the building. And it's the reception area right in the middle. To the left, you go to the elevated banks, you go to the 6th floor, you go to Vibe. To the other side, to the right, you go to the elevated banks. I think it's the 7th or 8th floor. I forget what floor it is, but it's Loud Records. So we're at Loud Records when it's Big Pun, Exhibit, Mobb Deep, MOP, everybody.
Was Wu there already too?
Wu was already on Loud. You know, Chef was already there. Yeah, so so it was like, damn, I was like Vibe magazine at its height, and then you got Loud Records right at its height next door. And it's crazy. Sometimes I be coming in from lunch and I see Pun coming in, and you know, sometimes I'm going home and Mobb Deep is coming in while I'm. You know, so as a young kid just getting into the game, I'm like, yo, this shit is crazy. My first ever industry party I ever went to was the album release party for Nori, the Niggas on the Run Eating album. That's the first party I ever went to. And everybody was there. Nas, Mobb Deep, everybody, DJ Premier. So, you know, I'm seeing all of this exposed so early. And I'm like, damn, is this what the industry is? Is this what I'm gonna be experiencing?
All the time.
And you know what? It was. It
was the most. I mean, we could talk about. It was one of the most exhilarating times. I got on like right after that, but
yeah,
it was an exhilarating time. I explained to people how the Christmas parties was a big deal. Like the when you got an invite to the Sony Christmas party, like you making your rounds, the money's in there. The connection is in there. You feeling good. The chicks is in there. Everything that you're looking for. This was our own world. This is what people don't understand.
This was, and this is the height in New York City, man. This is the summer that I started working at Vibe is when Jay-Z put out Streets is Watching.
It was that 97?
98.
And 98 he put out Streets is Watching?
Yeah, so this is right before
97.
I thought 98 was
Volume 2.
Volume 1. Volume 1 was
I thought it
was 97.
Okay,
it was 97.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
Yeah, he dropped that Hard Knock Life in 98.
Yeah. So
he dropped that. He dropped that. Yeah, he dropped both of them same year.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right, bet. Okay.
Yeah. So
oh, the Streets is what you right.
Yeah,
I'm thinking
the soundtrack.
The Streets is Watching the soundtrack. The video.
Yeah. So you know, we seeing the ascension. Like when I started in the game, we seeing the ascension. You know, Biggie, rest in peace. That's my favorite rapper. He had been dead for about a year, so we just starting to recover. You know what I'm saying? New York is starting to come back. Like we took that. That was a big loss.
What was the temperature like at Vibe? Because you know, hindsight's 2020, but you know that East Coast West Coast coverage and that magazine cover from Vibe is iconic.
Yeah.
Did they feel responsible or a certain level of guilt in the office?
Nah, it wasn't something that.
I know it's a year later.
Yeah, we didn't. Nigga, he got killed coming from the Vibe party.
Yeah, he got. Yeah,
like he was coming from the Vibe party.
Did.
That was bigger than any cover. He was leaving the actual fucking party.
He did, but
Vibe was running the game. Yeah. All we had was Source and Vibe.
Yeah, but you got to look at it too. Like, see, people don't know that. Like, with the inner workings of the magazine, even though the magazine is still there, it's the brand. Some people wasn't working there. You know what I'm saying? A year later, like it's just like you go to. I make it simple for people that's watching this. It's just like you go to your favorite neighborhood McDonald's or something like that. Even though it's always the restaurant, the person that was working on fries ain't there no more. They over at Pizza Hut now. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the inner workings of the magazines is like that. But it was a no pun intended. It was a great vibe when I started summer '98. It was a great vibe. The first cover. Lauryn Hill, you know what I'm saying? Lauryn Hill had just come out with that Lost Ones. And it was a little controversy over the Lauryn Hill cover because she was actually supposed to be, she actually did the Source cover. And Vibe actually took a photo. She did the interview with Vibe, but it wasn't supposed to be on the cover. That's back then in the magazine days. It's almost like if you do a show in Atlanta today, the promoter will put it in the contract. You can't do a show in Atlanta 90 days. You know what I'm saying? So if you do the cover of a magazine in June, that's exclusive. You can't do another magazine cover in June. You can't do it for another couple of months.
Until September.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
You get another cover.
But you could do an interview, but you just can't do the cover. Mm-hmm. So Vibe put her on the cover. It was some controversy with that, but that's when the magazine wars was ill, man. Like it was so competitive, and just and I talk about the Vibe roster, the Source roster was crazy. You had Carlito, all of these great guys, Selwyn. These guys are doing movies and doing like big movies. Empire television shows. These guys are doing great things. You know what I'm saying? Tone Boost and all of those guys. So it was just a fantastic time. Like the late '90s, early 2000s was a fantastic time just to be in New York. A fantastic time just to be in journalism.
In the music business. A lot of money was flowing.
It seemed like everything was. New York was popping. The South was still popping. West Coast was
popping.
Yeah, it was just a little bit more even, and we had our superstars, man. And these guys that was stars then, they standing the test of time. They still out. Jay-Z, everybody is still out doing
still
their
relevant.
thing.
Snoop Dogg.
Yeah. And then from Vibe, I was
Method Man.
Yeah, so I did my internship at Vibe. And I only did the internship for about 6 months, and then they hired me. My internship was only supposed to be for the summer. After the summer, they was like, "Can you stay for the fall? You're doing a great job." I was like, "As a matter of fact, I can. I graduated school, So so I was blessed because if I was in school, I would have had to lose it. But I was graduated, so I graduated.
Would you have quit? Dropped out of school if that?
Nah.
You wouldn't have dropped out of school?
I was so close to the finish line, man. Like I don't know if I would drop out of college with just like one more semester to go.
I would have been like, college ain't going nowhere.
Not for an internship, I don't know if I would have did it. If it was a job, if it's for a job, for a job, I mean that's why you go to school to get the job. Yeah, I would definitely did it for the job.
Sometimes you got parents that be like, the job ain't going nowhere. Finish up the
you
school.
Gotta do it.
I agree.
You gotta. It's a chance. The job might not be there.
Especially those caliber of jobs in that era. That's the thing, parents.
That was my dream. I was living my dream, man. I had my dream job. Like some people want to rap, some people want to produce, and it's great if you got the talent to do it. Pursue it with a passion. But I wanted to be a writer. And I was living my dream, and I had some of the best times, and I left Vibe, and because I had gotten so hot, like writing for Vibe, I had gotten so hot, all the other magazines was pursuing me, Source and XXL, everybody wanted to pay me more money to jump ship, and I was so loyal to Vibe because that was my first place that I worked, but I remember having a conversation. Because Danielle left, like I told you, it's the turnover. People don't know. So Danielle left, and Emil took over at Vibe, and he had his administration, and he was like, look, because I was moving rapid in just 2 years. I was unprecedented, the youngest music editor. Like, I was the youngest whatever there, breaking records. And he was like, look, you're doing good work, but you're moving too fast. I don't know if we're going to give you any more promotions for a while. And at the time, I was young, and I took it as, man, this nigga just trying to hold me back. Like, if I'm accelerating at an accelerated pace, but I'm still doing the work and I'm delivering, let me keep accelerating. But how he saw it was like, I want you to kind of be in this position and learn a little bit more, and but I'm like, man, I'm gonna learn as I go, and then I was just getting so many job offers from all of these other places. I wound up working at this internet company, because this is when the internet started getting hot, started building. So I went and started working at this internet company called Hook.com, and they was paying me double what Vibe was paying me. So I was like, shit, even if I get fired, I'm still good for a year because I'm making double, So I did that. I did Hook.com for like 9 months. They went bankrupt because it was just so much money they was pouring into, because everybody was trying to figure out what the internet was. Yeah. So you would go, it's like any other investments. Like you get your seed money to start, then you got to keep going through rounds and funding. And they were spending so much money. We had such a big staff. They were spending money on the office space. Everybody had computers to take home. They spent a lot of money, and the money wasn't coming back in. So they shut down. It was crazy because we there, and Hook was a fun atmosphere. We had a great time. Me, Daytwan was there, Jermaine Hall,
they were
Keith
spending
Murphy.
all that damn money.
Yeah,
But everybody there we was all friends. So it's like after work we all go out. This is when the industry, like,
there was a lot of money still flowing.
It was money in the end. It was endless money in the industry. So they would have big parties every night. Like every night, Aris the Record Party, Aaliyah Party, Rockefeller Party, Puffy Party, Shine Party, Nas Party.
Y'all was doing them, or everybody just was having them?
No, it was just the industry.
Yeah,
it was just parties every night.
I don't know why it was so many parties at that time, but I know
the labels were spending
because of the money, and it was still marketing. Who didn't want to go to the party? Then you had artists that wanted to be a part of it.
The labels were spending, and they were selling records. Like there was. The music industry was sweet. It was. This is before Napster. This is no MP3s. Yeah. This is physical copies. The worst they had to worry about is the bootleggers, but they were still selling.
Bootleggers was a part of them.
Yeah,
they was doing that shit on purpose.
And this was still when records were selling 3-4 million a clip. Like I said, this is Jay-Z Hard Knock Life, 5 million. Then the Dog came. You know what I'm saying? Dog sold.
Dog was selling 3 million on 2 albums.
2 albums.
You
know what I'm saying?
What a wave.
So the money was flowing. It was parties.
Eminem, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Ja Rule, fucking 50 Cent, like no matter who came along, people was coming. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like the moral to this whole thing, which is about BagFuel, which I'm gonna try to wrap it up. The moral to this whole shit is, you see how Shaheem went and he made a career out of writing. And he was aware of how to pivot to other stages of his career through his writing. Now he's on Twitch. Now he's on shows. He's doing many other. He speaks. He does a whole bunch of other things that have evolved from
started
his
doing music. You know what I'm saying? A&R, everything, man.
A&R. So don't get it twisted that you come in and you only could do that. It's like I said prior. You can come in. You can be a photographer. Be the best photographer that you can be. That doesn't mean that that's the only thing that you're going to do and you're going to be pigeonholed. Use that to make the relationships, and those relationships will carry on when it's time for you to make other moves.
Yeah, absolutely. But the key to that is you got to master the area. For me, it worked for me. Like, I mastered writing. I did that. I was at MTV for 10 years. So when I was mastering writing, being at MTV, the biggest television station in the world at the time, I was learning production. You know what I'm saying? I was learning editing and learning how to direct and how to produce and all of this. Started producing shoots for MTV, and then it made it easier. But, you know, if I didn't master the writing, it might not have been possible. But, you know, like, definitely in today's day and age, you got to learn how to do multiple things because everything is out there. Like, if you learn how to write, you got to learn how to edit, you got to learn how to produce, you got to learn how to talk on that microphone as well. You got to shoot. You got to learn how to shoot too. Like, you know, it's opportunities now where, you know, they want me to get footage on the, you know, just get the footage on the iPhone or something like that. So it's like, I'm like, man, I never was a shooter like that, but you know, you gotta capture the footage.
I'm a writer to a photographer.
Yeah, I'm getting, I'm like this. I'm trying to get better too, cause he takes our pictures and my pictures be trash, and I realize that these photographs carry on, and I'm focused on getting better in every aspect of the game as well, if we're going to continue to evolve and make something of ourselves. BagFuel.
Shaheem Reid.
Subscribe, like, comment, super thanks, all that stuff. We about to start doing lives. Thank you to Shaheem Reid for this Atlanta edition. It's never enough time when we talking to people. It's too much information. Everybody, I feel like we have to do a part 2 with them, and we look forward to that as well.
Definitely. Just last thing I say is, make sure y'all get that Book of Jose, Fat Joe's memoir, The Book of Jose, which I was blessed to be a part of. Fat Joe, my brother. It's out there. It's the realest book for the culture. Realest book for the culture.
Congratulations to y'all fellas.
Thank you.
Too.
Thank you.
Congratulations. BagFuel.